I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello and welcome back to How to Paint Watercolours with me, Colin. I've done my little picture, my little drawing. I've pre-stretched the paper. This is £140 Saundersford paper, raw sienna. Just a quick stroke of raw sienna. Cobalt blue. Moving into the water now. Just same colours it was in the sky. I'm just going to put it in here. Raw umber and just a little bit of raw umber here. And we're going to create some mist into this. We now have to leave this to dry. Now that that bit's dry, I'm just going to take a brush and very quickly re-wet the back of this mountain. This is a mixture of cobalt blue and raw umber mixed to the blue side, and I'm just going to put a little bit in here. It's just a background mountain really, there's no specific detail. Pull it down with a fall of land, damp brush, bring it down, lifting some paint out here and there. Just wet along your middle ground shoreline. Then into that, this is a mixture of the cobalt blue and raw umber once again, mixed to a kind of a grey green. And we're just going to add that in along here. Cobalt blue, deep yellow, and with a touch of alizarin crimson. This is just a lighter mixture of the same one with more yellow in it. And we're just getting colour on the paper at the moment. No particular order to it. Just teasing one or two areas out. Just creating some bushes kind of thing at the background here. French ultramarine, cat yellow deep with a touch of alizarin crimson. Darker mix sort of adds an olive colour to it. Just passing this in for bushes, leaving gaps in between so it doesn't end up as a solid mass. Just removing any excess off the bottom, because along the bottom I want to drop in some burnt sienna. Then into that I want to drop some burnt umber and French ultramarine. Just to bring some dark into the undergrowth of the foliage. Just adds different layers, just allowing it to creep up. The board is set at a slight angle. To get this in as quickly as I can. Burnt umber and Prussian blue next, just along the edge of the shoreline, just for some real dark. Just allow it to bleed up. Very little over here, it's just moving into the distance slightly. Damp brush, just tease some of this out so it fades. Very little definition on the edge of this. And once again, we're going to leave that to dry. Okay, now these are virtually dry, I'm just going to bring some water into here for these background fir trees, evergreens, whatever you want to call them. Cobalt blue, burnt umber. I just want to check its strength. It's probably just a little bit strong. So I'm going to add some water to this. And I'm just going to pull this into the wet with the paper. Just add some in and just pull it up Make them all different sizes. Don't have them looking like a load of soldiers if you can help it. Just allow these to drift down. Just a general indication that there's something there. Maybe a little bit stronger here as we come further forward, so you can't actually see where the tree line begins. Just a few indications of foliage, just softening the edges off, taking a bit out just to create a little bit of mist. Some here, as the paint is still slightly damp. Just trying it off as we go. Just adds a little bit of mystique and mystery to your painting. Once again, don't go to extremes with this. A little will go a long way. Maybe some up here. And once again, all this needs to dry. Now that that's dry, once again, I'm just introducing some water into the trees here. Not all the way up. This is the French ultramarine, cad yellow deep and alizarin crimson, and we're just going to bring in the fir trees, just pull it into the water and just allow this to drift gently, just pulling the tops of these out. I'll do a couple and you'll get the general idea. As we come down and hit the water, you should get a diffused effect as it comes down towards the mist. The brushes I'm using, they're the Daily Rowley Aquafine. I find these to be perfectly adequate and good hard wearing brushes, to be honest. I wouldn't use them otherwise. And you'll also find these at the same on the same link that I'll give you in the description box of where you can also get the porcelain palettes from, and the company supplies them all over the world, so you won't have any problem getting them should you wish to move on to something like this. I've made a darker colour up of this as well. As you can see, it's got a lot more crimson in it and a lot more blue, and it makes it a really rich, dark, greeny brown like you do get with the fir trees. And I'm just adding it to just one side of this tree as the sun's coming through the other side, and we will be just lifting a little bit of paint off these. I'm just putting it down the right hand side of this one for the same reason. The sun is behind them and tends to make that green foliage just a little bit lighter. I've just done a 2 there for you. You get the idea of how to build your evergreens up, and I'll just turn the camera off and we'll join you in a minute to show you what it looks like. Okay, all the trees are in. They look really good. This is a mop brush that I'm using, and I just want to put a little bit of texture onto the bushes at the front. Not everywhere, it's just adding some interest. Difficult for me to see from where position I'm in. With a wide flat brush and some clean water, we're going to put the reflections in. So I'm just going to add the wet into wet. I'm just making sure the whole of the area is wet first. Okay, I think you can just see that the shine has started to disappear off the paper. So we're going to start with the back reflections, which is the cobalt blue and the raw umber. And I think we'll just test it for strength, and we'll just give a general indication that these are here. That might do for them, I think. This is the original bush colour of cobalt blue, cad yellow deep, and I'll just give a general indication of where these are. Starting to add some of the fir trees in. Once again, some of the burnt umber and French ultramarine. Pull it down to indicate where the bushes are. Into that just add some of the burnt umber and the Prussian blue along the edge. And basically a mirror image of what you put in the land. But we'll allow this to have its way, most of it. And then once again the dark green, which is the French ultramarine, cat yellow deep and alizarin crimson. And we can begin to add this in as well. Just give a general indication of the shape of the fir trees. It will all bleed together. Just a general shape really. Dropping in the stronger green. Just adding it where I think it needs it, as this will dry a lot lighter. This is just a damp brush, there's no paint on it. Okay, I don't really want to mess with this any longer. Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry. I've just added some of that Prussian blue and burnt umber to the burnt umber and French ultramarine, and I'm just painting in just a shadow area on this canoe. Kind of like that. Then with some burnt sienna, just painting its passenger. Into that I'm just going to drop some of the dark mixture. So I want the puddle to stand out. Just bring a little down here. So a little more in the into the gentleman that's doing the rowing. And once again we're going to have to leave this to dry. Now that the dark shadows dry, I'm just taking some burnt sienna. We're just going to paint the rest of the canoe in. In some of the darker mixture. Just want to then some of the Prussian blue and burnt umber. Sorry, the Prussian blue and burnt umber. Add some dark along the bottom here and just allow this will creep up into the canoe. Then with some clean water, just generally indicating where the reflection is, and just touch the bottom of the canoe. Just allowing that to gently just drift into it. I'm just dropping some burnt sienna in as well, softening off the edges with clean water, and then we're going to allow that to dry. Okay, now that's dry, I'm just going to put a couple of ripples in where the canoe is. This is the mixture that was in here, which is a cobalt blue and raw umber. And I've just let it down with some water just to peel it off. Just bring some out, just curve them slightly, just to give them a little bit of movement. Making them bigger as they come closer to you. And once you have them in, just soften the bottoms off of these, leaving the hard edge on the top. Okay, once you have that done, you then get around to the best bit, which is shining it. The only thing left to do after this is just to put some wind streaks in there with a craft knife. And if you wish to have a look at some of the suggestions that I've made for the palettes and the paints, I will put a link in the description box for you. Hope you've enjoyed this painting, and if you want to have a look at some more paintings that I've done, I will also leave the link in the description box so you can view the others I have made. Okay, the painting's dry at the moment, your signature's dry. I've just taken a ruler and the end of a craft blade, and I've just scratched in some water lines there, so your picture's finished. All I need to do now is put a mat around it and frame it. So thank you very much for watching.